So this is my own personal experience with making bread. I'm not as scientific about this as Alton Brown, or I'm not as good as the bakers on YouTube, but I have my own process and I kind of bounce through things, and you can of course adapt this to do whatever you want. I'm going to share with you, but I have to show this stuff on video because it doesn't really quite work, you know, just to have the ingredients list. My two objectives here are to make it easy and reproducible. We have to make a couple loaves of bread a week for the kids and whatnot, and I don't also like the stuff at the supermarket. It's not very good, so we have to just be able to do it quickly, and it has to work and kind of achieve our objective. So, to start, I'm going to take the camera now from you here. Thank you. Thanks, Monica. Hey, Mike, can I take a picture of you? No. Okay. So to start, I've already put the ingredients into the bin here, and we've got our 3 cups of unbleached white flour already in there, and the ingredients are the easy part. There's really nothing too exciting about it. I've added 1.5 cups of hot water from the Instant Hot right there. The hot water, in the Instant Hot water almost as instantly becomes not too hot in the bathtub temperature that conventional wisdom says that the yeast likes so much. Another note about the water is that there's rumors about, oh, the chemicals in the tap water have chlorine, which is also why you don't use bleached flour. But in this case, I just take the water right out of the tap. That's just for me. I didn't really find it care, and I've got bread to make, so we just go with that. Regarding salt, you need a teaspoon of salt is what a lot of the recipes say. And the teaspoon of salt is, I like to actually cut that as low as I possibly can, but you do need some. That's another reason why I like to make my own bread, is to make it as low sodium as possible. So I don't like the kind of the pasty Wonder Bread flavor. But when you cut back on the salt, you have to be careful that you're not regulating the yeast as much. My dad, who's this like super health nut doctor type, he would not add salt at all, and then the thing would explode out of the dough would explode out of the bowl, and it would make a total mess. And then immediately right after it explodes out of the bowl, the dough dies and the yeast is done. It's all spent. So you do need to have some salt. And I kind of just make a very, very light teaspoon of that. Let's see here, what else? Oh yeah, I'm going to add the yeast later, and we'll talk about yeast in a second. One other thing though is I do add a tablespoon of oil. And you can see there's some oil in there. A large tablespoon, maybe even 2. This is just kind of my own sense. It just kind of makes it a little bit softer. I do not use butter because butter burns, and it makes it kind of, and then a day later after it burns, you know, butter tastes great in dinner rolls, right? And bread, it cooks a little hotter and it burns, and then a day later it starts to get a rotten smell to it. Olive oil doesn't get the rotten smell as much, but it does burn too. So I use canola or vegetable oil. So the ingredients are the easy part. Grandma Chen always likes to say, oh, look, I just make the bread by throwing everything in a bowl. Oh, it's so easy. And I'm like, okay, and I try it and it fails, and I try it and it fails. And I'm like, Grandma, I don't think you're telling me the whole story here. Because the biggest variables that we need to figure out here are, what are they? They're the kneading, rising, and benching. That's what we're here for, right? Those are the 3 things we care about. So what you're really doing is you're trying to figure out those 3 variables. And if you change any of the ingredients, like if you go from white flour to wheat, then guess what? You're back to square one trying to figure out your big 3 variables, which are kneading, rising, and benching. So let's see here. Let's see. Make sure I've said everything I need to say off my notes here. Not allowed to properly sound flour. Oh yeah, this is an important point. And why do I knead? Because I've got it in my notes there, because I used to make a lot of no-knead bread, right, girls? And the no-knead bread was pretty tasty. And the New York Times and everybody else have a lot of good recipes for it, and it's easy. So it's achieving a lot of objectives. But the no-knead bread came out a little bit too dense, and it also came out kind of metallic flavored. Like I wanted to cure the flour just a little bit more by letting the gluten settle out and stretch. What the kneading process does, it just changes the dough and it brings out that beautiful gluten flavor. And I was missing that gluten flavor in my bread with the no-knead bread, in my opinion, because the flour has kind of a raw metallic taste. And the no-knead breads just never really quite got rid of that. So I do like some kneading. And that's why we are in a bread bowl, a bread basket bowl here. So we're going to start kneading with the bread maker over here. Hey, Livy, could you go get my notes over there? Thanks, champion. And we're going to drop this guy in here. And You can use a dough hook, a KitchenAid with a dough hook and all that other stuff. So you just need to find something that does your kneading. Right, ladies?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. All right. So in this case, are we plugged in?
No.
Here, plug that in. Okay. And
Daddy, does it go in the other one?
now you got to flip it upside down there, Chief.
Oh.
Yeah, it's the. We got all this stuff in here. And I'm not going to forget the yeast. Don't worry. And on here, I do. This is crazy. One of Grandma Chen's discoveries. Oops, sorry, wrong one. Menu. We actually discovered we love the pizza mode for just the kneading. So we're going to do 45 minutes of pizza kneading here. And then we're going to leave this unopened. We're not going to open it up so it keeps the heat contained in there because it does warm it up just a little bit. And we're going to leave it unopened for another 2 hours plus afterwards, right? So we're going to do 45 minutes plus another 2 hours. So it's about 3 hours. And that's the answer to my first two questions. One, kneading. I use the pizza mode here, as Grandma Chen discovered, even though she doesn't even eat bread. She just eats rice, but she's awesome grandma, so she makes me bread all the time. And she figured all this stuff out on her own. And I'm going to hit start here. And then we're not going to open it up. We're going to set the timer over here for 3 hours. Don't worry, I have not forgotten my yeast yet. Yeah, how about that? There we go. So we got about 2 hours on top of that.
Oh, God.
You know?
That's a lot.
I know, geez, I know, bread is so... But the good news is now I can disappear and it's going to be mostly the same, barring humidity or something, for the entire time. And I'm going to add in my teaspoon of yeast. All right, who wants to hold the camera while we get the yeast? Okay. So we got the Fleischmann's Active Dry. Here, hold this while Dad... Don't hit anything, okay, Chief?
Look at that boy.
Oh, where'd the teaspoon go?
I know. It's right.
Hey, Mom, where'd the teaspoon go?
Right. Over here, behind it.
Oh, there it is. Thank you. Good job, soldier. Okay. Here, get my beautiful mug here. Hey, what are you doing? Hey, you're not supposed to be filming the bread maker. Film Dad. People like people, see? Oh, now watch this. Here's a teaspoon. I'm going to take a really big one. I'm going to try to let it overflow because actually a lot of recipes have 1.5. Actually, yeast varies so much by recipe.
I'm too low.
Some...
Should I close it?
Yeah, sure, you can close it. Some recipes have 1/4 of a teaspoon. Other recipes have 1.5 teaspoons, so they vary by a factor of 8, which is kind of like, huh? And I found that I need, at least for the speed and the tempo that I want to go, I like to add more yeast. And maybe some using the chlorine water or something. Anyways, for whatever reason, that's what I need. All right, guys, so with that, all right, ladies, how we doing?
Good.
All right, let's sign off. We'll pick back up when we start benching, okay? All right, bye-bye. Are we rolling?
Yeah.
Okay. So we got to get some, our timer just went off. Here, Eva, could you turn on the light? Good work, soldier. That's the spirit, soldier. Okay. Hey, your hand's in the way there, Chief.
No, it isn't.
All right. You got the hand in the way thing going on. Very cute. All right, look at that. So the stickiness of the flour is going to be a function of how long it's been kneading and how much water to, if you get a little bit more water in it, you get beyond the 2 to 1 ratio of flour and water. If you get a little more water, it tends to be more sticky. Okay, ready? This is important. Ready? Can you see in here? It's going to deproof as soon as it comes out. Can you see in?
Yep.
I'm caught on the. Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1. That's about what you want. It's full on this one. It's all the way up to the brim. If I'd opened it up an hour ago, it would just be a little clump in the center. That's about where I want it. Looks good. Is it running?
Yeah.
I want to be sure. Yes, it is. Okay, good. Now it's already deflating. See that? Well, that's normal. Shake it up, baby, now.
Dude.
You got to be steady with that. You don't want to get anybody seasick on that thing there, Olivia.
What does it mean?
When you shake around the camera too much. Look in there. There's some stuff. It looks about the right amount of stickiness. It kind of came out as a universal piece of dough, which means this is good looking dough. It's right now we have a beautiful aroma of the yeast and the kind of the alcoholic kind of smell coming out there. It smells like very good dough. I'm not a big sourdough fan myself, so I don't really over cure my bread too much and let it get really sourdoughy. I just kind of take it straight up like this. I think it still has a good smell to it right now. Okay, ready? And now, because I think it looks pretty good, it's got the right amount of stickiness, looks like a ratio's done pretty well. We're gonna, probably gonna fold okay. We'll see if that's true or not. I just washed my hands, supposedly. It's a little sticky, but it's not too bad. And now, this is what they call the punch, right? Actually.
If you can move that bow out of the way.
Yeah, okay, thanks. We're gonna
It's not in the
go like this. Try to get it into one cohesive. I want to make sure that as it expands, it's gonna spread out. I don't want it to like spread out and get stuck on the edges. I just folded it. I just kind of fold it and punch it a couple times. That's it. I didn't do a great job on that. Are you sure your hands aren't in the way? Okay, we're good. All right, you can stop it now. Thank you. We're gonna put this up to about 30 minutes of rise. Actually, we're gonna do a little less than that. I kind of come a little underneath that. And we're gonna let it rise, and you're gonna see what we're gonna do next. We're actually gonna, a lot of people like to put wet towels over it. I don't. It gets a little bit like encrusted as it tries to rise. Can you show it? I know I'm really pretty, but as this tries to rise up, there's gonna be a little bit of a crust that forms of it. Again, sticking to the philosophy of keeping this easy, I don't want to have to use a wet towel every time, so I just kind of let it go, and we're going to end up in 27 minutes putting 2 slits across it, so then you'll see it almost immediately start rising again.
You won't do it all the way through.
Yep, just like little slots, just to kind of like give it, to kind of break the shell a little bit so it can keep going. Okie dokes.
Not like you're cutting it all the way down.
Now we are actually 40 minutes in. I had to take some space, make some space on my camera, and we had to feed the cutenesses more bread. So we're 40 minutes in, but I should have done so 30 minutes in. This is debatable whether this helps, but I kind of have found that it helps a little bit, where I just do a slice like that, and it can then expand out a little bit, just like that. Maybe I might get a little bit more than that, just a little bit deeper. And you can kind of just see it opening up, and it just lets it breathe a little bit. It's like it was constricted by some sort of layer on the outside.
It looks like that.
Yeah, so I do that, and it just kind of opened up a bit, and it's actually going to expand and get another cycle of its kind of benching going on for the 20 minutes. Commonly, I will not start the oven now, but I want about an hour of benching total. So I'm going to set the oven to 450. Is that the right one? Oh no, we might do it on the bottom down here. We're on the lower oven. We've already got, look at that, see, Grandma knows what matters around here. Get our Dutch oven going. You want that really hot before you put your bread in there, because that's how, heat is the key to non-stick, right? So, preheat, I do the multi-convection. I've discussed this with so many people about these differences between bake, one-rack bake, convection, and multi-rake convection, who knows? Whatever, this is what I've done. It changes if I move these knobs. I don't anymore, so. And we're gonna wait till 450 and we'll come back. We ready to rock, Olivia?
Yes.
All right, good times. We're about an hour into benching. We just hit 450 on the oven about 30 seconds ago. This, just visually to me, looks like it's stretching out a lot. So it's definitely pretty ripe. It's pretty ready to go, I think. I don't know, this is again, benching. It's been about an hour since we took it out of the bread maker. This is a big variable that you can choose and knob to your own content. I like a certain amount of density. I like it more dense than artisan bread, but less dense than no knead. And that's kind of where I'm going, is in between on those on that density level. And take this out. It's all hot. The Dutch oven kind of changes color. I'm gonna keep it hot so we get the punch. Kick this out. Oops, sorry about that. Boom. This is kind of a sloppy stage here, but I have my 2 little spatulas. I like to get it nice and deep in there and just slide it in. Boom! Look at that guy. Who wants to eat that? Gotta go quick, because it's gonna punch. Try to get out that punch, I don't know, I just always just go, open back up, sesame, go like this, drop it back in there. milk, and we didn't quite do the full, we were like a couple minutes short. And I like to do 45 minutes on the dot at 450. A lot of the videos say you should take the lid off of it so you get that nice artisan crust. That's another variable I like to adjust for myself. I don't like super heavy crust that cut my gums, gives me canker sores, and the kids can't eat it. We like to just keep the lid on the whole time. So denser inside and a softer crust is what I'm going for generally, whereas the artisan breads are generally really, really crunchy crust and really, really soft inside to the point that they just tear apart too easily. So that's what I do, but you're welcome to knob all that stuff to your own content. Okay, so with that, we'll come back in 45 minutes and take the bread out. All right, we're rolling. This is the part you don't want to be late for, guys, right?
Yes.
All right, back up a little bit, give them some space. So, is your hand away? Don't you? All right.
No.
All right, Olivia's got this action. It's just finished. Let's take this guy out. Let's get up nice and high here, Olivia, so you can see it. Okay, what does it look like, soldiers? Kablam. That's pretty light. I could have crusted it up a little more. Out it comes. And there you go. That's our, your hand has got to be in the way. And that's the beautiful thing. You can see this, the original sense. It's pretty light on the crust, like I was saying. The density is going to be pretty good in there. I can tell by just the way I'm holding it. Or the weight. Well, I think that's... And thank you to all my little helpers for making our video here today. And, oh yeah, sorry. Alton Brown says this is the hardest part of the bread making, is waiting the 30 minutes for the gluten and all the bread structuring on the inside to finish forming. It takes a little while for that to happen. It's actually, if we cut it right now, it turned to mush. So you do actually want to wait 20 minutes.
Ooh, how much did you drop? I wonder.
Are you all done? All right. Who's ready for some bread?
Me.
All right, you bet. Time for the inaugural bread cutting. See how it turned out. Just for a little bit of sound. It's, you know, it's a little bit flexible on the top. I didn't crust it up too much.
Avocado!
There's the avocado piece, as we say. And there we go. It's the texture. Properly dense. Yeah, that's right. Okay, guys, let's let the hyenas start fighting over it, all right? All right. Okay. See ya.
That's where you make gash. Why do you put it on your wrist?
So I have like an artist palette.